So President Trump has said that his plan to deal with the situation in Gaza is to relocate the people of Gaza. He's saying they should move to Jordan and to Egypt. And there's been some questioning around, is this temporary or permanent? Trump says he's open to both. I think it's the most sensible suggestion possible when you're having constant conflict back and forth. Since Israel withdrew from Gaza, there's been terrorism, bloodshed, violence, incitement of hatred. More than that, the whole Israel quote-unquote Palestinian cause has been going on for 100 years, and Trump has the sense to see that it's not being resolved through the two-state solution model because the Arab side have shown themselves to not be interested in that. They've been offered basically everything they're supposedly, theoretically asking for in terms of self-determination, but they're not actually interested in that. What they're interested in is getting rid of the Jewish state. And if that's the case, well, then that's not, Israel's not going to go anywhere, so let's relocate them to the Arab world. Where they consider themselves Arabs, go live in the Arab world, which is 100 times the size of Israel. And if the Arab countries genuinely do care about their fellow Arabs, then they should welcome them in. And Trump is saying this, and there has been outrage by the leaders of Jordan and Egypt, who Trump is saying should take them in. But in classic Trump style, I want to show you this clip now of Trump being asked about this proposal in the Oval Office. He doesn't back down. He doesn't waver. He doesn't start to, sound overly diplomatic. He gives such strong words where he's saying it's going to happen. Not, I think we can persuade him. He's saying it will happen. Have a watch.
Egypt's president and the King of Jordan have both said that they won't take in displaced people from Gaza like you suggested. Is there anything you can do to make them do that? I mean, tariffs against those countries, for example?
They will do it. They will do it.
What makes you say that?
They're going to do it. Okay? We do a lot for them, and they're going to do it.
Mr. President, you've offered...
So you can clearly see he is determined about this. And Trump, because America is the number one world superpower, they wield a huge amount of strength and influence. We saw just a week or two ago the Colombian president saying he would not land those illegal immigrants into his country, and Trump said he's going to impose, I think, 25% and then 50% tariffs, and they changed immediately. And of course, Trump, I'm sure, knows that Jordan and Egypt rely heavily on American financial aid. And so, of course, he's going to use this. Now, there has been, as you'll see here, there's already been protests. Egyptians rallying near the Rafah border crossing to oppose Trump's plan to relocate Palestinians. This may get interesting. Very interesting. By the way, you should know that the Egypt border with Gaza, this, we talk about Israel having a so-called, this blockade and all this kind of stuff. Compare that to what Egypt have got. And you should, if there was any doubt in your mind about the faux outrage, the faux empathy that the Arab leadership has towards the Palestinians, and thinking that there's some kind of genuine cause of empathy as opposed to just hatred of Israel and the Jews, this picture says it all. Why don't they let them in? You're being bombarded in this war between Israel and Hamas. So let them in. Let them seek refuge there. The West took in loads of Ukrainian refugees during its war with Russia because they're showing solidarity with the people of Ukraine. But look at this border, closing them in. This should tell you all you need to know. And Trump is now saying, you know what? Clearly, the Israel-Palestine conflict is not about a legitimate grievance and desire for self-determination. Because if it were, this would have been resolved long ago. It is about an ideological hatred towards Israel. And for as long as, or rather the more, that the two-state solution notion is indulged, the more it just perpetuates conflict, violence, and the fantasy of eliminating Israel. It's been tried time and again. Bill Clinton said this. He offered Arafat everything the Palestinians were demanding, and he walked away at the last moment, showing that they're not interested in statehood. So if there is no genuine desire for seeing themselves as a unique national identity, if they really do consider themselves part of the Arab world, which is what it says at the beginning of the Palestine Liberation Organization's charter. They said, we consider ourselves an inseparable part of the Arab world. Had the Arabs won in 1948, God forbid, or in 67, God forbid, there would not be a Palestinian state. You'd have Egypt having a chunk of the land, Jordan having a chunk of the land, Lebanon having a chunk of the land. No Palestinian state, because it's not about Palestinian self-determination. It's simply about hatred of the Jews. We've been conned, we've been fooled into thinking there's some legitimate grievance, but actually it turns out that it's about the age-old Jew hatred. And if that sounds outrageous to you, if that sounds ridiculous to you, anti-Semitism has existed for 3,000 years, since the Jewish people came into existence. Why is it so preposterous to say that this is just another form of it? We've been duped. And it's time that we stop being duped. It's time that we say that actually not only is there the Palestinian cause phony, but equally the case for Israel having sovereignty over what is historically, biblically, spiritually, even legally, by the way, Jewish land, then that should be embraced too. And goodness me, people fare far better under Israel's sovereignty than other neighboring countries and governments in the Middle East. So I strongly welcome this plan. And I think it will be better, by the way, for the people of Gaza, who are egged on by the Arab world and those who are anti-Israel activists to be the outpost of hatred against Israel and to sacrifice their people and their lives. And I've no doubt there will be people in Gaza who are good and just wish peace. But if you are a good person in Gaza who just wants peace, then you should welcome this plan too. Because all we know is that reinvesting in rebuilding Gaza, where it'll be autonomous for the Arabs living there again, will just produce, God forbid, that same cycle of violence and terrorism and war and bloodshed for both sides. So it is highly welcome, this suggestion of Trump, and let's see what happens. Because as that post said, it is about to get very interesting indeed.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.